search for at Supabase, at Supabase, at Supabase. Wait a second. Help us, not auth help us, auth UI slash React. This is the one. Auth UI. This is the one. So you can see there are some sample videos how to use this auth UI. See, you can see different color patterns and different options. So this UI is completely provided by your Supabase itself. This is the thing. This is the packages that we need to use. Auth UI React and Auth UI Shad. So I'm just going to copy these two packages, Shad. Oops, not that one. I'm just going to copy those Shad. Okay, and let me go here and shut down my application. And let's say npm install, paste that at Supabase, Auth UI React and Auth UI Shad, hit the enter, and please make sure it's downloaded successfully, right? So inside here, as a children, what you have to do is we have to bring this Auth UI component. So that's what we are going to do. So let me rerun npm run dev. So let me rerun it. Okay, so let's go ahead and do that now. All right, so now what I have to do is, so over here, so before loading that components and everything, I need two of the objects. So let's get that objects first. So first I need to get the Supabase client. So const Supabase client is equals to use Supabase client from the auth helpers React. Then I need to get the router. So const router is equals to use a router, which is coming from next navigations. All right. And I need to get the session. So const session. So let's get the session object from the use session context from the helpers React. So these are the three different objects that you need to get from that. The session object comes from this package. So make sure that it's coming from that package. And let's make sure that you're getting your session objects over here. And let me separate these import statements properly. All right, save this changes. All right, so now we have that. But instead of this auth model over here, what I'm going to do is I'm gonna bring that auth. So I'm gonna get that auth UI, which is coming from that UI React. Make sure it is being imported properly from where? From here. Let's bring it to the top. All right, for this auth. So first what I need to do, I need to supply the Supabase client object, which is our Supabase client object. So save these changes. Now if you refresh it, because we shut it down our application, right? So please refresh your application. Let's make sure our server is running or not. Yes, it is server. It's running. Still loading. And here we go. You can see we have all those necessary fields and everything, but it's not quite looking good. So, but what we have to do is we have to use, you have to follow this documentation and start customizing your themes and everything. Okay, if you want to play around with this, just follow this video so that you can play around with these things. All right, so I'm gonna make some customizations. So I'm gonna use the theme as the dot theme. Oops, theme as the dot theme. So that will change to the dot theme. Okay, and the providers, I don't need all these providers. All I need only the providers is the GitHub. So I'm not going to use all these. I'm just going to use the GitHub provider. So save this changes, and you can see now we are using only the GitHub providers. And so appearances. So appearance, how it should look. So appearance should, let's open it. So the theme. So I'm going to use the theme Super, which is coming from UI React, right? So just like the way if you check over here, if you're deleting it and if you're checking it, so you can see you have a lot of themes over here: minimal, theme super, theme variables. There are lots of themes over there. In this case, I'm going to use the theme super. And variables, for the variables sections, I'm going to customize some default variables over here, some default colors. Let's change the brand color, which is going to be hash 404040. Then brand accent color, it's going to be hash 22C55E. All right, save these changes. And look at that. See? And of course, if you need the magic links also for instant login, if you want to keep the magic links up, you can see send the magic link email. If you click this, You can type the email address and that will send the magic link email to the user. They can access it instantly. But in this case, we are not going to use it. I'm just going to ignore it, right? So if you already signed in, so click here to sign in. If you click sign up, you can sign up. So this will provide you a bunch of options, so you don't have to worry about it every single time. So this will provide you a bunch of options like customizing, lots and lots of customizations along with that, right? So what I need to do is, so over here for this, this is open and on change. We don't have to keep it in that way. So what I'm going to do is, we do have that auth model, right? So from the auth model, I'm going to get a very specific. So use auth model. Let's get that hook. From that, I'm going to get that on close and is open. These two functions. Then I'm going to say const on change. On change. I'm going to create an open parameter as a Boolean type. It's going to be a callback function. If not open, if it is not open, then I'm going to call this on close, right? Make sure that is capital letter, otherwise you will get an error. Then I'm going to write a use effect hook. All right, inside here, if we have the session, we are not supposed to. So if we have the session, then router.refresh, then call the on close function, right? So we have to make sure whether we are having the session or not. If we are having the session, then we have to refresh it on close. Make sure this is closed, right? So now all I have to do is to map this is open over here as is open, and instead of this on change, I have to change this to on change. Oops, this is supposed to be this change. Save the changes and refresh it, and now you will not see that that auth model over here, because we haven't changed, because by default the use auth model state is false over here. So in order to change that, what I have to do is I have to get that thing whenever I'm clicking this, right? So what I'm going to do is I have to get inside the main container, because that's the place where I'm displaying that this user button, right? So what I'm going to do is, for that, over here, right after here or over here, so I'm just going to say const auth model is equals to use auth model. Let's get that. And over here, for that button, I'm going to call an on click event. For that on click event, what we are going to do is, whenever I'm clicking it, I'm going to call auth model dot on open. So you should not trigger it. You should just pass the reference over here. So save these changes. And now if I click this, refresh it, on open now, if I click this, it should trigger that, but it's not working. Why? Actually, I made a simple blender mistake. The reason everything is fine, because if you check over here, you can see if I change this state to true, it's working, which means there is no problem with our states and hook and everything. Problem is with our button, it's not clicking. So it took me a long time to figure it out, because I haven't used this properties and the reference. So button is not configured properly, right? So right after here, now what I have to do is I get the type of the button, then I render the class types and everything. Then right after here, I need to use the disable, because I missed the disable property. I haven't used the disable property. So then I need to make this as a disabled also. Then I need to pass the reference. So because we created the ref for that reference, we have to pass that reference. Then we need to render all the remaining props. Then only the on click event will work properly. So make sure those changes and you refresh it. And if you refresh everything properly, and now if you click this, you can see, voila, you can see how coolly it's opening that model, right? So everything is working so far, so good. So now all we have to do is to authenticate the user either by using this or sign in with GitHub. Let's go ahead and do that now.